I am Faye. I was born in Poland in a town situated near the Russian border. There was a um, Jewish population, about 5,000, and Gentiles, about 5,000. We have lived in a very good relationship with each other, respected each other's religion. When the Germans occupied, then the real trouble started. They used to come in the middle of the night to knock at doors, to have fun. They came once in the middle of the night, also asked us, the whole family, to lie down in the kitchen floor, facing the floor, and pointing the rifles at the whole family, at us. Three of them were knocking. And we had a big house, so unfortunately we had three front doors. If we would have a smaller house, we would have one front door. But since we had three, so three Nazis came over, and they asked us to sing. We couldn't sing because we were so scared, until they said, if you won't sing, we will shoot. So my brother, he's a rabbi now, he survived the war, he started to sing and to say a prayer that you say when people are dying. And we all started to sing, and they were pleased, and after a while they were called to go out back because they missed already their group, they had to catch up. So they left, and we got up, but we were standing for a long time. We couldn't move until a long period. Everybody went back to bed and back to sleep. Things like this happened every day, and every day was killing. Once, let's say, they took 10 people, 10 Jewish boys to kill, just for fun. So when they had to cross the lake in our town, they had to the one of the boys, he was with me together in school. We were the same age. I was still a teenager, and the boy didn't want to give the pleasure the Nazis to kill him. He jumped into the lake, and he disappeared. But the Nazis couldn't get over it. How come a Jewish boy escaped from under their noses? So they took 3 hostages, and they warned, if they won't be bringing back the boy to them, the hostages will be killed. And who was the hostage? They took because they knew that the town will care about those people, and they will do everything to find the boy for them. So they took the rabbi, and they took my father, and they took another Jewish man, also a very nice man. And they were standing, and the time was running out. They gave a special termin until this time, and then they will be shot. The hostages will be killed. But luckily, after a couple, my mother, of course, was crying. It was a whole tragedy. My father is in hostage. So after 3 days, his body came up and was floating in the water. Then they were pleased that the boy is not alive, and they let the hostages out. Things like this happened every day, something different. Once a woman wanted to kill herself, to drown in the water. She couldn't drown because she couldn't swim, but she tried to go, and there was those swamps close to the shore that she couldn't move even deeper to get drowned. So she started to cry, and people took her out, and she survived. And it was very tragic, and they took people to walk. I was a photographer because my older brother was really the photographer, but the Nazis took away all the young men. They formed a ghetto, and all the young men were taken away into an Arbeitslager, a working camp. And they were warned, they were all young, they could escape into the woods and join the partisans and fight the Nazis. But they were warned, if one of them will escape, the families will be killed. So they stayed. And I was also in the ghetto, but I had permission to go out from the ghetto because I worked for the Nazis as a photographer. And because they let me leave the ghetto because the dark room was outside the ghetto in our house. So I had permission to go. They took pictures and they brought me the films to develop. In the meantime, in the ghetto was hunger, cold, no clothes, no food, no water, no heat. We suffered a lot. We were so hungry, and but some people were dying, and some hardly could make it until there was an assemble. The main killer came from Ganzevich, and he was the Nazi killer, the ruler of the whole system, how they was organized, how to kill the people in the ghetto. And there was the first assemble was he asked us to get together, and we were counted, and then some people were hiding because they were thinking that now everybody will be killed, because 3 long trenches were ready for us to to bury. So they counted, and they hanged all the people that were hiding, and he left. Then it was a second assemble, the same thing. Now this time less people were hiding, so less people were finding out who was hiding, and they hanged them also. And then before the third assemble, a day before, I was asked to come to the Nazi headquarters. As a rule, it was nothing new for me. They asked me to come. I went, I took pictures, and I developed. I had the permission to go out from the ghetto into my house and the dark room there to develop for them the pictures. But this time they said, leave the camera and go. So I was very disappointed, and I was crying. I came home a whole way from the Nazi headquarters to the ghetto part. I was crying a whole way. And I came into the ghetto. My mother is asking, why are you crying? I said, Ma, they took away my camera. They didn't give me back the camera. So my mother took her arm around my shoulder and she said, my dear daughter, they took the house, they took the furniture, they took the cow, they took the horse, they took the clothes, everything what we had. They took our freedom. And you are crying because of a camera. So it made sense, but that's not always. So now I speak a lot about the Holocaust, about resistance for the last 35 years. And when I speak, I say to the young people, they have to, when I speak to schools or high schools or even universities, I said, you have to listen to parents, right? But sometimes parents have to listen to the children too, because if they would ask why did they took the camera, but everybody took it for granted, a big thing. They took her camera, they took everything. So what is the difference? But this was the sign that I was supposed to be killed in the morning. In the meantime, I was crying. I couldn't sleep a whole night, and in the morning was again an alarm, another assemble. We have to get together. And I was sleeping late because a whole night I was crying. So when I woke up, nobody was already in the ghetto because it was so crowded always. In each room were about 20 or 30